So I think this is very important for me and for my peers to see, because I talk to, all my friends and everything on Instagram and at work, and we're all in the same boat, still trying to figure out how to, maneuver and make it in this industry,
One of the things that I encourage people to do who want to be in the fashion industry, no matter what age they are, is to go work at a small store, retail store. I know it might sound like I'm not going to work in no damn store, but that's the best education. I'm not saying a store like Big Macy's, but a small store, because you get a chance to learn everything about the business. Right. I still enjoy selling. I still love to go into a store and work in a store and sell. I do. It's something about it. This is personal. It's exciting. But spend time learning the business. Mm-hmm. But also, you can, if you don't want to work in a store, get to know a person, the manager of a store. Cultivate with that person and invite that person for drinks and say, tell me about the retail climate. They can tell you so much. And that's what I mean by that community, right? So if you get a community, if you know someone at Bird Off Goodman, spend time with that person. Talk to them about traffic flow. Why is the store set up that way? What does the buyers think of this? When is market? How important is spring to summer to fall to holiday? All those things you can learn. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean by putting that community together, people that are right at your finger.
What food for thought words do you have? I actually have 3 minutes.
I would say keep going. I met an editor who was the youngest editor to ever win an Oscar. And when I met him, I was like at a barbecue, and I said, wow, you got an Oscar. This was like, I was only a year into my career. And I said, how does it feel? And he said, oh, don't worry, just keep going. You'll get one too.
Perfect closing moment. Thank you, Ms. Carter. Have an Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. And welcome to Black Fashion Career and Industry Week. Yes, we've changed the name, so it's no longer Black Fashion Career Day. It is now Black Fashion Career and Industry Week. And I am so excited about this conversation that we're about to have tonight. It's a well-needed conversation. The focus of this conversation is really to kind of demystify the metaverse, the Web3, all of these technologies that have been thrust upon us, especially because of COVID. So without further ado, I am going to bring on this illustrious panel of individuals who I'm so thankful that they agreed to join me to empower you tonight. So I have to start with Farrah Allen. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then I will bring her to the screen. Farrah Allen is the incredible powerhouse. She is the mastermind behind this dynamic immersive platform that we now have. And you know what? Just in case somebody may be watching from a different platform, because we're streaming into Facebook, we're streaming into LinkedIn. I even hit Twitter tonight. So I see you. I'm glad you're excited. Thank you for joining. So she is so if you are not tuning in directly into this immersive space, click that link that I just dropped in the chat. It'll bring you right into the space. But Farrah Allen, just to tell you a little bit about her, her company is called The Labs. She is an accomplished leader in the media technology space with she's got a lot of experience. I'm not going to tell how much. She's got a lot of experience. But she was previously in executive positions such as president and CEO of the Allen Group Management Consulting Agency, where her clients included Fortune 500 companies. And as CEO and co-founder of Song Society app, Ms. Allen has been featured in publications such as Forbes and the Washington Post. And if anything I said incorrectly, Ms. Allen, please correct me. But welcome Farrah to the screen. Oh my gosh, thank you for joining me.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And thank you for this incredible platform.
All your vision, man. I'm just glad to put it to life.
Oh my gosh. And that is what she and her team did. Oh my goodness. So without further ado, I'm going to continue to bring our panelists in the lineup. So next, Nova is there. I'm not seeing her yet, so I'm not going to pull. Oh, she's right there. I wasn't going to pull somebody into the screen until I make sure it's okay. So Nova, oh my gosh, we had such a great conversation. But we'll have to get into that in a little bit. But Nova is a brand advisor. Her debut fashion collective earned her Haute Couture Designer of the Year, and she went on to earn 2 Rising Star nominations from the Fashion Group International. Her designs landed her spots in major magazines in film and on television, and her experiences as a designer and entrepreneur inspired her to launch Rain magazine. And her award-nominated podcast, Unleash the Supernova, which I'm in love with. Oh my gosh. Nova is also a part of the advisory council for the Metaverse Fashion Council. And as I'm bringing her on, welcome, Nova. Hi. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you on here. Oh my gosh. You're on mute.
I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. And I just want to tell everybody, I'm only telling you a snippet of these individuals and their accomplishments. With the time allotted, it would take me a while to really get in. So you really want to learn more about these ladies and these gentlemen that I'm about to bring forth too. So with that said, and everybody can be on mute, I am actually going to bring in Samuel Alexander. So Samuel, if anybody was with us last year, or you've seen some of the replays, Samuel Alexander was with us last year, blew my mind. But Samuel, actually, I always call him the guru of gurus. Sam is an internationally recognized expert in all things digital, from product design and development, global sourcing, production, to strategic branding, marketing, and more. He has been featured in publications such as Forbes, WWD, Apparel Resources, and he's just off of completing an amazing TED Talk, revolutionizing fashion for a circular and sustainable future with technology. So I'm bringing Sam. Welcome, Sam. How are you tonight? You good? Okay. All right. So, Dr. Hammond.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. Glad to be you. Dr. Hammonds. So I'll go ahead And I will introduce Dr. Hammonds, and once I see he's clear, then I will bring him into the stream. So Dr. Courtney Hammonds, I know he's not a stranger to any of you. He is an established name in the fashion industry. His reputation as a style and academic expert has earned him titles like Dean of Fashion. A trusted advisor to universities and colleges, he is frequently credited as a fashion authority in such media as InStyle, NPR, Reader's Digest, just to name a few. I put that on there, but it's the truth. More recently, he was appointed fashion editor of Upscale magazine, covering creative expression from a multifaceted point, including the design and fashion industries with an academic slant. Most recently, Dr. Hammonds was awarded President Joe Biden's Volunteer Service Award and is now gracing the cover of French publication L'Amour, I hope I said that correctly, magazine. Welcome, Dr. Hammonds.
Hello, how is everyone?
Oh my goodness, I am so excited to have everybody here. Let me see what everybody is saying hello in the chat to each of you. So this is going to be an incredible conversation. As I was telling them earlier, I know we will not get to all of the questions that have been written. I have written, and I hope I didn't insult them, but I've written really kind of basic questions because my understanding of Web3 and the metaverse is kind of basic. But I have some exciting things to share with each of you tonight. I have some announcements to share about how BFW Foundation is approaching empowering you to step into these realms. So with that said, let's just start the conversation right off. Jumping in, layman's language, and I'll start, I'll do ladies first. I'll start with Farah. Quickly, what, I don't know if it can be quick, but in layman's terms, so somebody like myself who's not a tech person can kind of understand, and we can kind of remove the fear. What is the metaverse? And Web3, and we'll just stop right there. What is the metaverse? What is Web3? You're on mute. I told them, everybody, to go on to mute so we don't get feedback. Just remember to pull yourself off of mute when coming forward. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, that is a great question, Carla. Now, if you talk to Mark Zuckerberg, he's going to tell you that it's VR. It's going to be VR interactive experiences within VR. If you talk to Roblox or Minecraft, they're going to say that it is a space for, that you live, right? You live and you play and you game, and it's a community. And that's, to me, the closest, form of metaverse in our world. But, with the labs, we see the metaverse also as an opportunity for brands to have an identity and a presence that's different than what you would get on the typical web experience, right? We're going beyond websites into this next era, and that's where we sit in with the form of what the metaverse is. So that's a little explanation.
Okay, all right. Nova, what do you share your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll echo Farah on that. And I'll also add Web3 is what I call the future of the internet, where we have a basket of tools that include immersive environments such as the metaverse. And when we look online, and there is a lot of confusion on what the metaverse is, thanks to Meta. But but if we imagine what the World Wide Web started off as and went on to information highway and now called the internet, that is a phase that we're in as it relates to emerging technology and the future of the internet. And so I often say we're day one of 10,000. We're going to see many iterations and definitions of what the metaverse is. But in general, it's an environment that will house digital experiences that are more immersive than what we have now. And so right now we're looking at a 2D screen with a video. And when we're shopping online, we're scrolling through photos and we're clicking links. And in the metaverse space, in these 3D environments, we're looking at three-dimensional environments with and without digital representations of ourselves, which can look just like us, digital twins, or it can be an alter ego or a fantasy version. So if we want to hop around like a pink bunny rabbit in the 3D environments, we can do that. And some of these environments that most people are familiar with are gamified, so they're more cartoon-like. But what's coming is a more hyper-realistic, or some refer to photorealistic environment, where it looks close to real life. And we're seeing some of those iterations with the help of AI come forward faster than we've imagined. Now, going back to Web3, again, see it as a basket of tools. You have your hammer, you have your screwdriver, you have your nuts and bolts. And so it includes tools such as blockchain. And a use case of that is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, which most people have heard about, or NFTs, smart contracts. We've heard of Beeple, the painting that sold through Sotheby's at $69 million. That is just a use case of a visual piece of art minted on the blockchain. And then we have artificial intelligence, which has been around for a while, but now we're seeing generative AI, machine learning on steroids, basically. And then, of course, we have our 3D environments, which can include, but doesn't have to, augmented reality or virtual reality. Again, and we're just seeing this as a basket of tools that are going to allow us to build either ownership of digital assets and spaces and or more immersive experiences as brands and individuals are able to express their story in more unique ways.
Lord help me. Oh my gosh. I'm hearing, Dr. Hammond, I'll wait until everyone finishes. Sorry, Dr. Hammonds, share your feedback.
Well, listen, that's a hard act to follow with these wonderful ladies that just gave a wonderful explanation. I'm gonna go a different approach, and for those that still may be a little confused for whatever space they're in, I'll say that is really a digital realm that continues to expand. So it continues to expand because little do we know that tomorrow there may be a new mechanism that is released. You never know. And beyond that, I would say not only is it expanding, but it's cutting edge. And so what I love about the cutting edge perspective is that no matter what realm you're in, whether you're in fashion, whether you're in tech, whether you're whoever you are in the whatever industry or sector, this is something that is here, that is now, that is relevant, and is not going anywhere. And so if anything, though, what I would love to also mention, I would be remiss not to mention this, is that the whole goal, in my opinion, is really to enhance the customer experience. So whatever your customer is, whether you're in fashion, again, whether you're in tech, whether you're in whatever industry, is really to expand that conversation, that narrative, because you want that customer to be in the cutting edge realm. So in close, a digital realm that continues to expand. It is cutting edge because cutting edge is here and Metaverse is not going anywhere.
Sam, you come off mute. Come off mute. Yeah. Just there you go. Oh, it went back on.
Yes, I got it. Okay, here we go. It's hard to follow what I've just heard, but I will kind of lay it out from an educational standpoint, and that's what I usually do. I lecture at a lot of universities on what we're talking about today. Basically, we started out with the internet, and that was where we connected computers in a network. Then we went to Web 1.0. That was where your AOL, you got mail, came into existence. From there, we went to Web 2, where you got Facebook and the Twitter. We're moving now into Web 3. There is really no such thing as a metaverse yet. We don't have the bandwidth or the connectivity to really have a true metaverse, but it's coming, as Dr. Courtney said earlier. We're at the early adaptive phase of what we consider the metaverse. We've, as a company, have walked away. We call our part of that the multiverse, because we don't want to get caught up in the word that somebody put up as their corporate name. So we went to the multiverse, and most of the people that I work with, we call it the multiverse, because you're looking at multi entities on how we look at the future of the digital world and the physical world. What you're looking at is AR, VR, MR, XR, and holograms. And that's where we're focused at, is on the holograms with the HoloLens. You're looking at an interactive IoT world where everything that can be connected will be connected. The only things that'll have value are the things that you cannot connect. Everything else will be connected. Our focus is smart cities, working and bringing this technology to the smart cities and integrating it into wearables. So our focus is taking it to the next level with autonomous technology, where we collect the data and move it into the Web3, into the blockchain. So we're doing a lot of technology in that. Also, we're looking at artificial intelligence and machine learning. That's the big ChatGPT has really brought it to the focal point, but this is a lot of it is old technology compared to where it's really headed to, or where it's already at. Then the final part is bots and robots. And the bots and robots are where we really are focusing now, tying the artificial intelligence into our bots and our robots. So that's kind of the quick version of what we're doing with it right now, where we're headed to with it in the future. We're looking at the fashion industry from the standpoint of reshoring it back to the US with smart factories, smart products, and smart networks. And what we're looking at is using hemp as our product to reshore with. So what we're doing is developing a complete structure for hemp to be able to develop it and use it as a fiber in reshoring to the US. There's 50,000 products that we can create from hemp. There's no reason that we shouldn't have been using it in the past. We're also looking at how to use made to measure customization on demand. So we're using avatars and all types of software to develop your avatars and moving into our 3D production, which we have factories that are on demand. We have the first one built here in Austin, and the second one is going to be in Motor City, and it'll be ready in June. And it is owned by Black people, which is even more incredible. You've got a Black production factory that's advanced manufacturing in the Motor City. It started out with music, now we're going to take it to the fashion. So we've got an incredible opportunity right now with this paradigm shift that we're going to. There's nothing but opportunity now. Everybody's afraid of it. They're afraid of blockchain. They're afraid of cryptocurrency. They're telling it's going to fail. There's nothing. Bitcoin is not going to go away. You might as well get ready. It ain't going nowhere. And now you've got and my mind just went blank, but we've got the merge coming up that's finished now. So now you get ready to see statement of work versus the that we've done in the past. So you've got a lot of changes that are coming right now. And with the changes that we see already in the banking systems, people think that Elon Musk, they can't figure out why he bought Twitter. He bought it for fintech. They're going to turn that into financial technology. And this is going to change up everything, the way people understand the world, period. So we're moving quickly into a lot of different spaces that are going to create nothing but opportunity, but it's going to be chaos for a lot of people because they're stuck in an analog world and they can't let go because they justify their existence with analog behavior.
Right. So let me ask this, and then y'all forgive me. I did one boo-boo. I didn't have my laptop charged. So I'm going to ask this question, grab my card, plug it up, and let y'all continue the conversation. I'll be right here. So my brief understanding, and I want you all to help me, is, and this is just a quick synopsis, is that when you talk about Web3 versus the metaverse, it really, that decentralized word really gets into, if I'm understanding correctly, the ownership. We're stepping into now, if I understand correctly, the ability to own our own designs and then the tokenization dealing with the monetary portion. Who would like to take that question and elaborate on it really quick while I plug up my laptop?
If I may, what I love is I love case studies. So like Samuel, I come from an academic slant. So what I love is really giving people a practical example to follow. So when the word metaverse or the topic came out, especially during the COVID pandemic, what I love is that a lot of your retailers that are already established in the sector really jumped ahead of the conversation. And one of them that did a great job, in my opinion, in this space, now they can use some additional work in others, was Ralph Lauren. So Ralph Lauren, for instance, partnered with a South Korean social network app, Zepto. And they created a virtual fashion collection. And when they created that, they really expanded the conversation and gave people the credence, especially your small, medium, and large design houses and even your creators, and showed them that there is possibility. And the possibility is here. And so what I love about that narrative as well is that it really expanded, going from a traditional runway setting and gave it to another option for people, because everyone's not going to go to New York, Milan, or Paris for Fashion Week, and so they want another opportunity to be able to do that. And COVID did it. It was a hard reset, and it was a hard reset where it forced the creatives and the design houses to think outside the box, because the box was already created. They just had to get inside the box. And so when they got inside the box, they saw that there were so many other opportunities to really expand the narrative and bring on a new clientele that probably was not even interested in fashion. So now you have your Gen Zers who I love, because they keep me relevant, right? And so I am not a Gen Z. I probably look a little young, but I'm not. So we're we're aged gracefully. So we bless God for that. But with your Gen Zers, though, what I love about them is that they're really those on the cusp of spending, especially from an online perspective. And so they're going to go online first before they go into a brick and mortar store. So they want to see something that really looks like them, their world, that is. And so, I think Ralph Lauren, and there's so many other brands and so many those that probably you don't even know, that I love, that really expanded that narrative, that conversation, and show people that keyword that starts with the P, that there are possibilities, and those possibilities can stretch your imagination.
Nova, would you like to add to that?
Sure. So yes, in terms of decentralization, we can see that as our current system being centralized, where you have a traditional corporation, you have your C-suite, you have your board, and you have your chairman of the board. And this one group of individuals, or this one company, dictates the products, the designs, the storytelling, the distribution, the governance within that organization. And they own that item. In decentralization, you're breaking up that system, and you're creating the opportunity for individuals to own the product, to have a say in governance, to participate in the conversation around design of the products that they're receiving and they're purchasing. So it gives individuals an opportunity to play in the game and not just be consumers and passive observers. And so, as Samuel was sharing earlier, in the journey of the internet and how we went from just a browser research-based black or green screen with text to social media such as Instagram and Facebooks of the world. And now we're moving into a space, as Farah had shared earlier, where you can own your data, where you can manage your own finances without a bank, where you can purchase and own digital assets, and you can participate in the governance of an organization that you are a member of, and or have a say in the story of the products that are coming from that community or coming through that organization. So that's how I like to see decentralization versus centralization. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I don't have the time to dive into that one. So anybody listening, anybody watching, anybody listening, rewatch this, because there's some nuggets that are coming forth here. And this particular portion of the conversation, I think, is highly important if we want to get ahead as a people. Sam, and then Farah, if you want to add any of those. Sam, you want to add anything to that?
Well, I want to start out where Nova was talking about the decentralization, and there's no more silos in the industry at all, and there's no separation of industries. It's all IoT. Everything is moving into one collective viewpoint. And what you're looking at now is decentralized collaboration. And that's what Web3 is completely about. It's about giving people the power to empower themselves. And there's no, the corporations are not agile enough to make this transition. And they're having a lot of trouble making this transition. The key to what's going forward, the most powerful thing you can have now is creativity. Be able to take this technology and use it creatively to develop new products and new ideas. That's where the future of this industry is headed to for anybody that wants to take advantage of it. You can't learn Web3 in a book. Web3 is being developed as we talk. We're in the first early adapter part of it now. You're talking 5 to 10 years before we see the full results of it. And we have no clue of what IoT will do with Web3, the connectivity of everything. And then also being able to utilize that data to benefit everyone around us. So we're looking, you know, you're talking third world countries right now that have a stable currency and cryptocurrency. You know what that's going to do to those countries to give them that ability to communicate? You're talking about Elon Musk just gave them access to internet globally right now, that you can go in, you can be out in the middle of the ocean, have access to internet in the middle of the jungle. This is a changing world, and the big guys are not agile enough to make. It's like David and Goliath. David had technology, and Goliath was just big. And that's what I look at these big companies as right now. They're just big, and they're not agile enough to make this transition. And they don't have a creative people because they robotic all their people right now. They need to find as many creative people as they can, as quick as they can. And most of the people now are just saying, well, I don't really want to live like that. I want a quality of life. I don't want a quality of life. You know, I don't even want a car. You're talking about the Gen Z. They don't even want cars. My kids in my office, they don't want a car. They ride the bus. They ride the train. They don't even want to own a car. They don't want to own a house. They don't want anything to tie them down. And now we're talking about moving forward into fashion. Utilitarian will be the word that you're going to hear everybody start over abusing. Utilitarian. All your fashion will have to be utilitarian going forward. They'll have to have a purpose and a life cycle for it to have value going forward. So you're going to hear that over and over again in our industry. You're also looking at the power of being able to design. We have software now. We have 100 trillion SKUs that you can design your own fashion and also create an RFID on that fashion with an RFID chip and have a digital and physical version of your products. So you have opportunity to have both.
Okay. Farrah, any thoughts you want to add? This is good.
Yeah. I work a lot with large organizations as well as nonprofits, and it does take an intention to move forward like this. It does take someone, a cheerleader. It does take people with vision. It does take backing of leadership. And what I found is how we are able to really capture our audience and our customers is kind of, the ROI significance, right? What do we get out of this? Especially for the large organizations. We just signed on Delta to be their, we have a new product called Perkverse, which is perks, employee perks, but in Metaverse, right? And it's backed by sponsors. So the Ubers, the Sherry's Berries, all these organizations that try to sell to employees. And so what's good about this is before they even started with us, they did over $1 million. And, and the ideas there is that this was a revenue stream that never existed prior to this technology being implemented, or the vision of that department leader who said, hey, we can, really monetize this 90,000 people that we have here. So, just how I'm looking at how, I'm kind of able to come in as a software provider, as someone who is doing cutting edge stuff, is kind of going in the way of ROI-based initiatives, strategy. And then once I'm in there, they're more able to listen to my partners in the Web3 space, or, things that moves them even further, because now they're no longer afraid. Yeah. So I'm just, I kind of notice how this is kind of, in my world, kind of, shaping up to move forward.
Yeah. So thank you all. This is amazing. So what I'm going to do, I'm looking at the time. I want to respect everyone's time. So I am going to advance forward. I want to say, I may come back to one or two of these questions depending on how far we get. But as far as talking about the benefits and opportunities, we'll come back to that. I do just want to say, I have to share that Reactive Reality and Mikhail Drew with her 383 Design Studio. I want to thank each of these organizations for donating their work to the virtual learning library that we've started. That's one of the approaches that BFW Foundation has taken. We are starting a virtual learning library so people can come in and they can begin to look at these videos and begin to understand what opportunities are available for them. As I say that, while we have this platform, as I was mentioning to someone earlier, we're doing a beta test over the next couple of months. We're still taking donations for individuals who want to highlight their product and support the community and help empower us so we're not left behind. So anybody, go to this virtual learning library and begin to watch this series of videos. Reactive donated a whole webinar series. So anybody else who wants to donate, please do so. So I want to go forward, and I want to, one question I have to ask, I know someone presented to me, and then I want to go on to the impact to the Black fashion-preneur. And if we have a moment, I might come back to one or two. But when we talk about fashion specifics, this is a question I really have too. Web3, Metaverse, is there a way to design the product, a fashion garment, accessory, in the digital space, and then actually have it printed and produced outside in the real world to sell in the real world? Is there, Nova, share with me.
Ooh, my sweet spot.
Oh, here we go.
Is there? Yes, 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 yes. I love that Samuel had touched on the importance of the creator and where we're going, and the advantage we have as it relates to the agility that we can, leverage in this space. And, Farah had touched on ROI and the value that we can add to these bigger brands and companies as it relates to our creativity. Courtney had touched on Zepeto and Ralph Lauren, but we also have opportunities to work with these bigger brands as well. And so as a designer, one of the things I'm doing with the House of Nova is bringing together Web3 and traditional fashion. My love in fashion is couture and made to order. We are moving into the age of on-demand fashion and bringing back the cottage industry. We've seen the interest in Gen Zers, becoming makers and upcycling and recycling and learning from YouTube University and how to make these clothes and how to design. I was fortunate enough to go to FIT and be traditionally trained, and now being within the Web3 space, taking that knowledge and combining it with tools such as blockchain, such as data art, such as generative AI, and creating concepts with these tools. And you can use software such as Blender, there's Clo 3D, there's Maya, there's Unity, there's Unreal Engine, and there's many, many more that I haven't mentioned to design within the 3D environment. Or you can use tools such as DALL-E or Midjourney to create with generative AI and take these concepts, test it with your community if you choose, or take the concepts and bring it into the traditional pen and paper or CAD programs and build on those designs. And then from your final designs, you can, send that to your production team. And I'm really excited about Made in the US, especially Black owned. So I will be reaching out to you, Samuel, to get more insight on that. And send it to your production team to then create these designs. And so you're going to hear the term phygital as it relates to combining digital fashion with physical fashion. And someone here on the panel had mentioned purpose. It might have been Samuel, purposefulity. And so when we're looking at our fashion world becoming more digital, where 15% of our wardrobe in a few years would be digital only. So let's think about that. I mean, right now it's probably hard to conceive, but when you're spending time in a virtual environment, especially one that resembles a more realistic, not so much a gaming environment like Minecraft or Roblox or Decentraland, photorealistic environment, we're going to need to be dressed, and we're going to be selecting our digital wardrobe. And now some of those digital items are going to exist in our wardrobe physically. And then you're going to have items that come to life just by the demand of the customer. So for example, Roblox, which is a gaming platform, Lululemon is a brand within Roblox. It does not have children's wear, but you have this new generation of preteens that wants Lululemon clothing. And in real life, they don't even have that label, that collection yet. So you're going to see this reverse demand happen within fashion, where items are going to exist in the digital realm and then be brought to life by the demand of the consumer in the physical realm. You're going to see physical items have their digital twin and live in these digital environments, showrooms, stores, immersive experience environments. You're going to see the rise of fashion art. And that's something that I play with a lot, where fashion is living only in the digital space as an experiential element within those digital environments. And that's just touching on apparel. We're not even talking about furniture yet or accessories. And then augmented reality, I don't want to, skip over that. We're going to have the hardware coming out this year. I'm sure everyone's heard the buzz that, Apple's going to be releasing their hardware, and we're going to see a whole lot of other companies following suit. And that's going to create a whole new buzz around the quote unquote metaverse, but then also augmented items. And so these clothing fashion is going to exist as an augmented reality piece, an AR piece, and then also as a physical item. Or you can take your phone or your glasses, and as someone's walking down the street, and scan or point your phone or your glasses, and you can have an augmented experience that's coming off of the clothing. And or you could read where this item was made, or what is it made from, in an augmented way. So can it be done? Yes. The iterations are going to be infinite. It's really an exciting time. And I just want to urge anyone that is a creator on the call to see this as your time, as this is an opportunity where, for the first time, I've been in this game for over 2 decades, the playing field has been leveled. And if you take the time to come to workshops like this and seminars like this and spend time learning any of the tools of your choice, you can enter this industry and create a way to sustain yourself from your creativity. And up until this point, the wall has been extremely high, but right now it's really just your time, your aptitude, and your knowledge that's separating you from taking your art and turning it into a true livelihood where you don't have to compromise your dreams or compromise your values.
Amazing. I have another question to go with that. And I wasn't able to get anyone to be on this call, so I have to do another meeting about the legal aspects. So I'm going to save that question. But one of the questions that was presented to me was the concern about the fit for doing that. Can you touch on that a little bit about producing this garment in the reality from the digital world, and the fit, how that will be affected?
Yeah. So what's exciting now is that there are virtual try-on tools that are existing in retail stores, physical brick and mortar stores, and then also apps on your phone where you can scan your body, have an avatar, an anonymous avatar created that has your measurements, and those can be submitted to the company that's using that particular software, or submitted to the designer or brand that's using these on-demand production workflows. And so right now, in terms of fit, and doing made to order in the past has been a challenge because the person has to come in and you have to manually take their measurements. But now we have these tools that we can play with, and maybe the augmented reality tools, the AI tools, for us to have ourselves fitted at home and have that sent automatically to the designer or the brand or the manufacturer to get the garment to fit. And I know everyone here can sympathize with the challenge that we've had with your mass market labels as relates to fit. And it was one of the problems I wanted to solve as a designer doing made to order, and one of the reasons why I chose to do made to order. And so again, this is an opportunity for us to embrace this technology to assist within our demographic, the issue that has continually plagued the fashion industry around fit.
Dr. Hammonds, did you want to say something? And then I'm going to.
Yes. All wonderful points, Nova. Thank you so kindly for touching that. What I wanted to give a ginger shout out to one of my mentees, or two of them in the BIPOC community, since we're talking about and celebrating all things Black and Brown. is Beyond the Runway. So Beyond the Runway are two individuals that I had the opportunity to work with from idea to consumption. And what they really did was really revolutionize everything that Nova just talked about. And so their website, and you can go at your own leisure, but really, it really forges consumers to be able to virtually try on the clothes, figure out what the sizing, and their technology would transform that and their merchandise into realistic digital garments for the website. And so what I love about that from an educational standpoint is that they really came in with the startup Bootcamp Fast Tech, which I'm a mentor of out of Milan. And they went through a 6-month process where I helped them one-on-one would go from idea to conception, but there was some questions still in the middle. And so what I love is that we also had the opportunity to really do a test market. And so it happened in the midst of the pandemic. And segueing to that, where we're also going with designers like Nova and others that may be listening, is that I'm very fortunate to be the COO of Noir Fashion Week. So Noir Fashion Week out of New York, where we're featuring amazing BIPOC designers in New York, and announcement we will be showing in Paris as well this September. We're actually making that a recommendation and a qualification for all designers as a part of their entryway, because as you're doing a foray into the fashion industry, and especially if you're interested in showcasing your collection, again, the conversation is expanding from the physical runway. So what happens to those that cannot visit a Paris, a Milan, or even a New York, or even some of your local set tours? What may happen, they'll have a platform similar as this, where they'll see a virtual reality. And this will actually be clothing that designers such as Nova and others have created. And they're walking the runway on Black and brown, because that's going to be our audience, and others as well, that look like everyone walking down the street or on major runways. So all that to say that the world of conversation, specifically with fashion, has gone beyond the brick and mortar Macy's, the small boutique. Now it has gone into the corporate boardrooms, which I love, because now it's forcing everyone, because all of us on the call, everyone that we're related to, even in our immediate and extended family, everyone has a uniform. Uniform meaning that is clothing. And so we all have that commonality, because just like music, fashion is a universal language. And Metaverse has expanded that. And now it's another CD instead of an actual disc. And so now we are really taking this to a whole nother level, to what Samuel is mentioning, into a multi-world instead of into a one-dimensional.
Amazing. So I want to ask, I'm looking at the time. If anybody, I know that there's a delay with the broadcast. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and place those in the chat. With the appropriate timing, I will present questions to you. But go ahead and put any questions you have in the chat. So I wanted to hit on, I'll skip that. I was going to hit on cultural appropriation and what your thoughts are. But I'll come to that after this question.
Carla, could I ask to expand on what Nova said earlier?
You got 60 seconds?
On about the manufacturing and factoring. We have right now factories that we're building here in the US that are all made to measure factories. And basically your Kloss and your Optitech and all the people that she was talking about, you can take a flat file, 2D file, it will turn it into a 3D rendering, wrap it around the avatar, create the markers when it wraps it for your size, roll it out onto a plotter, which will do the consumption for you, the fabric, roll it through the printer, which will print any print you want on the fabric, roll it out into the laser cutter, and it'll cut it exactly to your size. That's what we're doing here in the US right now. And we're not talking about what we're gonna do. That's what these guys have built out in Detroit. We're partnering with people like Gerber, Tukatech, and companies like that. And they're giving us millions of dollars to build these facilities. We're also doing tri-sector. Education, private industry, and government. And we're working to create financing for the community. So this is about building out new opportunities for the community. Yeah. So we're not looking at this as we also how to figure out how to reshore as quick as we can. Reshoring is going to be, I mean, I've been doing for the last 40 years my production in China and Peru and all these different countries all over the world. Peru just had the government overthrown there. Sri Lanka is in total chaos. Vietnam's not big enough to produce enough products for anybody. And China is moving from a production economy into a service economy. Plus, we may go to war with them. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on that are going to change everything about the way we understand the world. And right now, we have an opportunity to reshore our production back using this technology to our advantages and letting the creative people be creative in their own design work. You got to think about when my mother was younger, she'd go to the store and buy a pattern. Okay. And you pay for that pattern, she come home and make a product out of it. Now you can take somebody's design, give them royalty on it, use that design, and they continue to create royalties from that over and over again. So their designs never get put in a drawer anymore or never get hanging in somebody's closet. It's used over and over again. Not only that, you can take that product and add components to that product and redesign the blocks to whatever you want. So if you like the body of a certain designer, you could take that body and that pattern and then redesign it using the prints and the colors and stripes or whatever you want to do and the fabric and create your own products with their design.
So we can become our own designers then.
We can make one product, okay? You can design and manufacture one product with our product. You can run, there's no minimum anymore. You go to China, you go to these other countries, they give you a minimum, usually 1,000 pieces of a style of a color. That's the problem with why we having the sustainability problem, because you have to make so many pieces that were never going to be sold. Then when you start talking about rack space versus made to measure, we're making things to measure versus having to bring in huge quantities, have them sit on a rack and end up in a landfill. 80% of the products that we manufacture as an industry, and we're a $2.5 trillion industry, end up in landfills. We're responsible for 20% of the water waste for the whole world, 8% of the carbon.
So this, and that's one of the things, and I'm hearing feedback, y'all. So everybody check your volume. Thank you for that, Sam, too. Thank you, all of you for that. That's one of the things, definitely one of the benefits. So it's 7:45. I'm going to do one more question. I see some questions coming, depending on how that goes, because we want to end at 8. The metaverse has raised the stakes. The demand for Black brands is increasing. Large retailers are providing more shelf space. You have incubator and accelerator programs that are rising to bridge the gap. Yet, when we think about the resources, the money, the connectivity, and things that are needed to step into the metaverse or the Web3 and maintain it, Black brands still continue, they're facing systematic changes right now with keeping, having the capital to produce. Stepping into Web3, stepping into the metaverse. We often talk about the wealth divide, but let's talk about the digital divide. How are Black, what's the profile of the African-American, the Black-owned brand that is going to be able, or that should consider right now, stepping into these realms? Dr. Hammond,
oh yeah, because I was about to jump. I was about to jump.
Dr. Hammond's first.
I was about to jump.
It was Sam, and let's. Oh Lord, I promised him we would not run over 8, so I may have to present some of these questions later. But this is going to be this question. So go ahead, Dr. Hammond.
I'll be quick. What I really believe, and I say this often in the educational space and in different platforms, what happens with major organizations, and I think about when I was the HR director at Neiman's here in Atlanta, and I was very fortunate to do that for over 6 years. And I was able to go back for Black History Month this year after being gone for over a decade to host an event. How unfortunate was it to be in a major city like Atlanta and a major retailer as Neiman Marcus, only 2 stores such as that doing something for Black History Month, and there was no conversation about metaverse. And the reason why, and I said this to corporate management, is because there were not enough Novas, there were not enough Farrahs, there were not enough Samuels and not enough Carlas and not enough Courtneys at the table when it comes to decision making. Because not to say that we don't have the knowledge, but we're not represented. And oftentimes we're not represented because we're not putting ourselves in front of the audience that needs to be there. And so I love your platform. I'm celebrating you. I'm using this on purpose because this platform, as well as others, it forces the conversation. And what happens is now it's cemented because now you have other individuals that are competent in the sector, that are well-versed. And I'm going to reach out to all of you all after this, because now what has happened is now it's going to force the conversation, because now people can say, I need to go back and listen. I've learned several key nuggets this evening, and we are never too old and never too knowledgeable to learn anything. So in short, there's not enough people that look like us that are at the decision-making tables in order to make change. However, when we get there, like a Samuel, like a Nova and Farah and yourself, when we get there, we have to pull others that are just as competent in other areas that we are not. So we continue to expand that conversation. So Metaverse is not a foreign language, but is a common language for all.
Explanation point, mic drop.
Go Nova, go ahead.
No, that was everything. And I think one word, everyone needs to be in this, or at least learn about the space, at least learn. And so if you're here, kudos to you. Congratulations. This is step one. And please pass the word. It's so easy for us to be left behind, especially because the tech is moving so quickly. And same, I am really looking forward to connecting with everyone here after the call. So thank you so much, Carla, for bringing this together for us and for the community watching.
Sam and then Farah.
Okay, go ahead, Farah. Ladies first.
Yeah, I agree totally. It is about, like Nova said, it's just your time to be creative. It is the Wild Wild West out there, right? There are tons of resources that you can use to be, think outside the box, move yourself as close as possible to, the things that we're talking about today, if not those things. So I would say it's up to you. It's out there. You're doing the work right now because you have attended this event. But it is around, being representing and showing the world that these are options, these are things that you can do. And so it's, it's all on us to really take this conversation as Black people and show the world that we are in it. We are here. We're first movers to it. We're being successful in it.
Thank you all. So it's 7:50. I'm going to run through some of these questions. One of them I saw really quick. Charmaine, you mentioned, can you share the resource? Please remind me what question that was so I can present it to the panel. One question came through, says, and I'm going to show this on the screen. Is there a way your digital design will be protected in case of digital or technical difficulty so it's not erased or lost?
I can
That's
jump
what the
in.
blockchain is about. Is verifiable. I'm sorry.
I didn't get Sam. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's what the blockchain is about, verifiable. And when you go forward, your designs will be locked into the blockchain. It's just a matter of how much the gas fees are going to cost until we get that down before it becomes viable. But the whole Web3 is about protecting you and your identity and also your assets. And one of the things that we didn't get into that I want to hit real quick is the 4 types of tokens that we all need to understand. You've got payment tokens, utility tokens, security tokens, and then non-fungible tokens. Nobody ever talks about the other tokens that are out there. Nobody even wants to explain to you how those are going to be utilized in the future. And for marketing, branding, and product development, those tokens will all be a part of the future. And everything that we're looking at right now is all about fintech, financial technology, as we move into the Web3. The whole way that we do business and the way we move is going to change. I used to tell a designer, it's going to cost you $250,000 to start up a company and get it running, a minimum of $250,000. Right now, a young designer can create their designs, implementing into one of the 3D softwares, run it through our factory, and have it made within 7 days. Okay, that costs, there's no minimums. So you can start a company very easy now if you're creative and willing to understand the new technologies. So it's not like going and spending $250,000 and having to go to China, go to California and build out product. It takes us 7 months from a design to a finished product to land it back here in the US on initial products. I can turn products right now in 7 days and have them at your front door in 3 to 5. How does a company compete with that? Who can compete with that? Not only that, to your customization, to your avatar, to your fit, to your own personal design. How do they compete? Are you going to put a bunch of clothes in a store and compete with me with that? You can't. There's no way. The only way that we're going to change retail, it has to become interactive. And that's what we're focusing on now. How do we make the retailer an interactive place to go in and shop and be entertained and have an interactive way? That's where your gaming and all the VR and AR comes into existence within the retail space, where if you're doing VR and working online with cataloging, or AR, going into a store with AR glasses and being able to focus in there and have bots and robots working with you in the store. This whole new world that we're about to evolve into. It's not about what's about to happen. It's here now. It's just a matter of how do we get people to understand how quick they have to evolve.
Right. And I apologize. I didn't mean to skip you. Did you want to go back to that question about the digital divide? What are your thoughts?
That was the answer that I wanted to give a minute ago.
Okay.
There's no real digital divide anymore, because you have the ability as software as a service to utilize any of these products. So when I started out in the software industry, we had to buy SQL Server and all types of. I mean, it was $70,000 for SQL Server when we built our own cloud systems back in the 90s. And we had to have all these different softwares that we had to buy. Then you have to go out and get a data center. Then you have to buy servers and build the data center. Then you have maintenance. I mean, right now you can do software as a service and do all these technologies for pennies, very little dollars, hundreds of dollars.
So is it more
software as a service now,
economical?
call it. There's no more building out your own system.
So is it more economical now versus before? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, people, that's the ding point. Y'all hear this? It's more economical now in the digital world. So like she said, like I think it was Nova already said, this is your time. That's that
But
ding
the only thing
point.
it takes is the asset that everyone has now is creativity. Creativity is a major asset that all you got to do is have creativity now, and the tools are there for you to take that creativity and bring it to reality.
So, okay, here I go.
And profit from it.
So to get started now, I'm deviating. Lord, 7:55. Okay, let me hurry up. So now I'm really digging in. Help me, Father. To get started now in fashion, just a round off of what it would cost the digital way versus what it would cost the traditional, about to be outdated way. Go ahead, Nova.
I would just say your time right now. And we're just saying, just to get started, it's choosing the avenue that you want to use as your pathway in. We've talked about a lot of different ways to participate. You don't have to do all of them on the first day, but what resonates with you is really important. Does AR resonate with you? Does VR resonate with you? Does 3D environments resonate with you? Maybe it's AI, maybe it's generative AI, maybe it's taking physical fashion and going a more sustainable route and doing on-demand production. So there's different ways that you can participate in Web3 in this future paradigm, and it's connecting with that and letting that lead you in. You know, I started with tokenization and day trading crypto. Then I went to DAOs. Then I went to NFTs, then Metaverse, and now Gen AI. And I've been building on the knowledge. But something has to pull you in for you to stay committed and learn. And then you could take that information and implement it. So it's zero. It's really your time that it's going to cost for you to get started.
Amazing. Okay, so it's 7:57. I said 8 o'clock. I got to stick to this. I do have one more question, but let me look through everybody else's questions really quick. Okay, as far as learning, I'm gonna say based upon the time, and go back if you can, because this is gonna be on my YouTube channel. You can listen to Nova. She shared several programs that you can use. Someone is saying, I have to show this to you all. She's saying, thank you so much for your knowledge and time. I really appreciate it. will colleges have 3D AIs? And I think some of them do have 3D and AI in college. She's saying yes. Something I saw. Okay, check. Okay, we talked about that. There was a resource. Okay, I don't know what that question was. Okay, this has been amazing. I am so glad. I wish we had longer, but we do not. It's 7:58. Let's wrap up. They've already basically given you the dean word. Is more economical now. But I have to ask this question as we wrap up. We've had the nice question or the not so nice question? Okay, let's talk. Cultural appropriation. We've had the digitals that created, which was really nice. Shudo, if anybody's not familiar with Shudo is African American. She's a digital model, beautiful too. What he did with that, he received, the person who created was white, and he received several questions after doing that. What he did was he sold it as NFTs, donated a percentage of the proceeds to support the Black Girls Coach. I think is really good. Yet you have some people who are using digital blackface. Then you have some brands who are selling and creating digital influences of color. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is cultural appropriation? Do you think it's going to take away some of the jobs of our Black influencers? 60 seconds, each person. Who wants to go first? Sam, I keep skipping you. So you want to go first, and then Farrah?
I don't see right now. We're about to go through the largest paradigm shift that anyone has seen in the history of the world. All it's going to take is creativity for people to move forward. The cost factor is gone. And as far as I'll tell you this, when we started making our first avatars, people kept saying, "Sam, why are your avatars white?" And I went back to my designers and they said we don't have any black skins. So they had to create coloring on the white avatars to be able to make black avatars. So it's just not in the mindset of the people that are creating this technology. So we need more Black people involved in this technology to be able to create the images that we want to be creating right now. So it's going to take us doing the type of things we're doing today and bringing the knowledge out to the public to let them know what's available to them at really very little cost whatsoever. And the only limitation anyone has now is themselves. Okay. Telling themselves they can't do it or they financially can do it.
Sarah, your thoughts?
My opinion is this, like we've been saying, we could do the same thing. We could make money off of being white. Finally. Why not? We don't need to hire the white guy anymore. We'll just make our avatar white and let them get mad. Like, it's evil. It's even footing now. So I see it as, listen, it's not, it's, of course, our culture is amazing and people want to, BS, but, definitely there's money to be made to be white too. So let's make that money.
Nova and then Dr. Hammonds.
Yeah, I feel that, you can have art without tech. You can't have tech without art. And when our culture is added into anything, it grows and scales. I mean, TikTok, Clubhouse, etc. And so if you understand storytelling, marketing, branding, psychological behavior, you're going to take the art form of what we represent and put that forward. Now, is it right or wrong? I think, growing up as a dark-skinned woman in this country has been very challenging. We all can relate. And what we're seeing now are more images of ourselves. The problem is we're just seeing one image based on one perspective. And so we do need more of us at the table where we're creating the images and representations that showcase the variety of what we look like and how we can be represented. And so I think if anything, from one sense, the technology is popularizing our culture. But at the same time, they're leveraging our art form to make profit. And so what we need to do is see these as use cases, see the acceptance about it, and say, well, let's increase that. When I put my art out there, it's beautiful Black women of all looks and kinds. And people are like, because they don't see it. There's not enough that are putting that out there, and they appreciate that. So I echo what everyone else has said so far. I think you can see it both ways, but the more that we're shown, the better. So let's go. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep the fountain flowing, because we do need more images of ourselves out there. We just also need to be the one creating them.
Dr. Hammonds, for final
I
thoughts.
agree with it all. And I would sum it up and just say, honestly, creating a playbook is a necessity. When you create a playbook for anything in life, but specifically as a creative, you do three things. You really plan, you execute, and then you create it. And so once you do those three things, and really in addition to that, I would add a fourth one, is have those necessaries that are on your team. Those necessaries that are on your team are typically people that are better than you in certain areas. And so that can be mentorship, people sometimes that you don't even know. Follow those that are doing something that you want to do. I consider everyone on this call now a inadvertent mentor, because you're so strong in so many different areas. And I think we all lift each other up in spaces that really edify all of us. It's a collective voice. As I go back, fashion is a collective tone, but the tone has to go out. Everybody's not going to like country music, but you can change the channel. But at the end of the day, there's an audience for you. And so when you identify what your audience is, you really hone in it, as we always call it, a niche. At the end of the day, your niche can be expanded now, because now the world is really your oyster.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone, so very much. One final announcement for the evening. I'll share 2 comments and we'll be finished at 8:05. I ran 5 minutes over, but it was worth it. I do want to let everyone know, thank you again. Thank each of you for participating. Farah, thank you and your team for such a dynamic job, what you've done with this metaverse space. Well, my immersive space now. In this immersive space, we have space for everyone that is listening on this or who hears the replay. We have a community room for you. So you can come in and you can begin to book your own meetings. You can use the studio, the space we're speaking to you now. If you want to do virtual shows, you can hold virtual meetings. All of that is available now. With the demand, it is something that we'll be able to work with sponsors and continue to have. But this is a way that you have space so you can get into this world. You can learn more about it. Visit the learning library that we've started. That's available for you. So it's all for you. 2 comments that I saw, not ignoring anybody else's comments, but 2 I just wanted to share really quick. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this knowledge now. I'm studying fashion design as we seek Black excellence. And then what did I see? This has been so good. Thank you, Ms. Farah, Ms. Nova, Dr. Hammonds, Mr. Samuel. You have enlightened the world of upcoming fashion. Be blessed, Ms. Dale. So that is from our audience. I want to thank everybody again. Tell everybody they can listen to the replay, and they should. And tell you what, you can slow down the replay. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you for listening, and be sure to come back Thursday evening as we talk with Black women in fashion photography. So have a good night.